Hey there, Skeleton Key here. It's been a minute. Yeah, and I am still alive, and I am actually doing pretty well lately. I'm still kind of trying to get caught up on everything because I was out of state for quite a while there, and um, yeah, my ability to do live streams was pretty much nil, and I was gonna do some shorts and make more posts, but yeah, I was pretty limited on what I could do where I was. And yeah, sometimes getting a signal, yeah, that was pretty dicey sometimes. And the computer I had with me, I'm discovering that a Chromebook is a very limited device. Not much you can do on the road with a Chromebook. But I am back. I am more or less recovered from the trip. I still have a lot of catching up to do. Um, and if you've been wondering where I am, and yeah, that's um, so let's see. So May was pretty much yeah, I don't think I did do some posts in May because it was Mysterious Mayhem, and I do apologize for not being more present and involved in that. I did some posts, and I'll go ahead and put those up here. And let's do this. So here you can see, let's do that. So we've got, this is on my YouTube channel here, and in the posts section, I think I've referred to it as the community tab before because a lot of times that's what it shows up as on mine, but apparently they've shifted and now community is something else. It's like a place that other people can post, and it's only open to certain YouTubers. That it does require probably a much higher viewer count and everything than I have. And so this, let's see, so I started back here. Oh yeah, an independent bookstore day. That was in April, and I had a great time. It kind of wrecked my my body, but yeah, even just walking around down in between two stores in Old Town was a bit much for me. But so yeah, my starting board for Chaos Bingo. And that shows. Does it go in order? All right. So yeah, there it shows my starting board, and then so my first key, I I uncovered the number 10. And so in the post, and I'll just let you go through those at your leisure. But I just show what I did. Um, and I describe in the text which books that I picked for which prompts, and I added a few little things like I could have a certain number of reveals, and so that then influenced which squares I would jump to. And my goal, of course, was to get from the C1, the C of chaos, to the S5 of chaos. And I did finish. And I think it took me 7 books. And I will make another post then hopefully today, kind of outlining what I did for the remainder of my chaos bingo reads. And so yeah, last we saw, I had made it this far. So it wasn't just a straight shot. I took a little bit of a detour over to H1 instead of H2. And then I do take another detour down here somewhere. Yeah, I've got pictures, so I'll just get those uploaded and describe everything. And I don't think I read any books that I have hard copies for to hold up and show you. So I will probably do another post just showing the books, the book covers, so that you can see that, and or maybe just a short or something. I don't know. I'll figure something out. And let's see. Now let's go back to, yeah. And stop sharing. Oh, they've changed things around. This is what happens when you don't live stream for a while. So let's try that. Okay, that works. Where did it go? But anyway, and let's see. Oh wow, I have at least one person here. And now at least 2 people watching. I was not actually anticipating anybody showing up for this because it was such an impromptu thing. So welcome. I'm glad to have you here. Feel free to say hi in the comments. And I was just going to talk a little bit, I just basically wanted to get something out here to let you know I made it back okay, and I'm okay. And I'm actually starting on I have started on a new treatment, and it's experimental, so insurance doesn't cover it, of course. Yay, joy, life in America. But it does seem to be helping. So I'm hoping that things continue going that direction. And maybe I'll be able to do vlogging again and edit vlog posts and things like that. That would be awesome and cool. Anyway, just kind of a quick rundown of some of the things I did in May. Of course, there was Mysterious Mayhem. And I did Asian Readathon, and I had all these grand plans for reading all these different books from authors from different backgrounds, Asian backgrounds. And I finished one of them. And that was Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. And I'm saying that kind of right, but I'm sure I'm not quite getting the nuance of the pronunciation. But I listened to the Kin Liu translation, and he adds in these essays sort of throughout about various topics, about linguistics, about other philosophers of that era, and it was just really fascinating. So I do highly recommend that. And let's see. Oh, I had several others that I was planning, but yeah. Let's see. And also for Genreland, Asian authors was the theme. And of course, I finished the one book. And also Horror Mayhem. That was Decades of Dread. And that was the theme was Decades of Dread. So it was reading shorter works, like novellas and shorter, of horror fiction. And I listened to it. Was mostly listening. I don't think did I read any with my eyeballs. I don't think I read any with my eyeballs. Well, no. Walking to Aldebaran. I'm not sure if that's pronounced right, by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I did read that with my eyeballs. That was hella creepy. That was, if you want something set in outer space that's really super creepy, super gross, super violent, it's all the things. Basically, this astronaut is picked for this mission to go check out this anomalous wormhole kind of thing, but it's or it's a thing that has wormholes in it. I still can't really wrap my brain around what it was. But this astronaut, um, well, we meet him as he's alone and lives in his mind and subsisting on things he probably shouldn't be eating. And yeah, so it's not a fun time, but it is fascinating. So if that's what you're looking for, and especially if you're an Adrian Tchaikovsky fan, you'll probably like it. Um, so there was that. But I kind of picked and choose. I just kind of jumped through the decades, starting with early 19th century. I think I can't remember what that one was, but yeah, I read sort of a sampling. I think 10 or 11 short stories and a couple novellas, something like that. And I learned that Bram Stoker's short stories, there's a reason that basically all we ever hear about is Dracula. I was not impressed with Bram Stoker's short stories, short fiction. Some of it was okay. Some of it was reasonably entertaining, but some of it was just like, what? I don't know what's going on here. Oh, this guy has a high fever and he's rambling. And he's scared of something in the dark. So yeah, so Bram Stoker did not impress me, but I did have fun kind of picking out some stories and looking at how things changed through the decades. Even though I didn't read like every decade of each century, I finished up in the 2020s, and that was interesting. Let's see. Also, Zombie Awareness Month was May, and so I read 3 different zombie works, and I did not get to any watching, so that kind of, I didn't get a lot of points, but it's like there were tier levels of, if you do, there was like a bingo board, and if you get, and I did 11 blocks out of 25 on the bingo board, and so I got Intelligent Zombie. I can't remember which one that was. Yeah, I promised chaos. I bring chaos. Yeah, I'm just kind of trying to go from memory here, but yeah, the 3 books I read were there was a James Ponti book, the first in the Dead City series, and Dead City was the title, and it's a YA series, and that was really cool. And then there was I started reading Bodacious Creed, which is a steampunk zombie western, but I decided to save it for this month. So I'm going to get back to that and hopefully finish that for June on the Range, which I'm doing. And but yeah, it's zombies, it's a western, it's steampunk, yay. And I did read some steampunk last month, but yeah, I'll probably talk about that later in a weekly wrap up. So I'm just kind of, this isn't organized at all. I'm just kind of rambling about May and kind of talking about what I'm doing in June. So that was pretty much it for May. The other books I read for Zombie Awareness, like I said, chaos. My life is chaos these days, so yeah. There was The Legend of the Zombie by Thomas Kingsley Troop. I listened to it on Audible. It was an Audible Plus catalog freebie thing, and it was obviously intended to be a children's picture book. And listening to the audio of a children's picture book especially nonfiction, because this was talking about the various legends, like, you know, voodoo zombies and stuff like that, stuff in Haiti. And it, and basically presenting them as there are people who believe these legends. And so it was technically, it was nonfiction. And it sounded basically like somebody reciting PowerPoint slides. So I do not have access to the actual picture book. So I cannot speak to how good the picture book is. All I know is that the audiobook had some interesting takes on, some interesting information that most of it, if not all of it, I already knew. Um, but a younger reader or somebody who doesn't really follow, um, horror fiction, might not be aware of. So it did have some information, just the presentation was just really, really clunky. Um, so I would definitely recommend finding the picture book if you can, because it's probably a much better format for that story, for that book. And what was the third one? I had it out here. And that piece of paper has just gone completely away. I had it just a minute ago. But it was a short story. Maybe I'll remember it, maybe I won't. But I will, do weekly wrap-ups and, something a little bit more focused in the future. I just basically wanted to come on and say hi, and also just a little bit of commentary on the world as it is. I imagine some of you are not in the United States of America, and there's not any really good way to explain what is going on here. But and to make it relevant to my booktube channel, I will say reading is political. If you don't understand that, please, ask questions, and I, be happy to expand upon that. But and I've talked about it before, but I recently read the Fort Collins Reads group read, citywide group read, and we'll be bringing the author Kirsten Miller in. Kirsten Miller, I think that's her name. But we'll be bringing her in. I say we, the city, the committee that puts this all together. We'll be bringing her in for a presentation either in late October or early November. It's usually around that time, and I know they've set a date. And I'm going to try to go back and add info to the description for some of these things. But it's Lula Dean's Little Library of Banned Books. And, I was like, that's such a cutesy title. And I'm just like, I really wasn't looking forward to reading. I'm like, this sounds like chick lit. And I'm like, no, it was really good. It goes through a lot of different heavy topics. The sort of things that people write books about, and those books get banned. And it's about this book banner in Georgia who gets a bug up her butt, and she starts banning books at the local library. And so some people decide, hey, let's pull the prank. And they go and they, but then Lula Dean starts her own, like, they just call it a little library. It's on the little free library model, but, my neighborhood has a little library that is not a little free library. So, these, some people just do these on their own. And so she does this little library and she stocks it with, edifying books about, the heroes of the Confederacy and stuff like that. And how to be a proper Southern belle. And I forget the exact titles, but anyways, Honey decides to take the banned books that were removed from the library and replace them with Lula Dean's book cover, dust jackets, and put them in there. And so then, people start taking books out of Lula Dean's little library and end up reading things like The Diary of Anne Frank and Beloved and Genderqueer. and yeah, much wackiness ensues. And it does. I was actually really amazed at how Miller, I'm pretty sure that's her name, Kirsten Miller, how she approached all this with a very light touch and made things humorous, even though they were very, very heavy subjects, very difficult subjects, like transphobia. And I mean, the content warnings for this, there's lots of transphobia, there's lots of misogyny, there's self-harm, there's, you name it, it's in here. And she's not, she treats it with a light touch, but still gets this message across that reading is important, reading is political, reading opens up new worlds. It helps people understand themselves and helps people understand the world around them, gives people a sense of history and how the stuff that's happening now in America we're repeating history right now. And so, yeah, so this is just, but, she does this still respectfully. And I just really thought that was amazing. So, yeah, definitely highly recommend that. And of course, if you're in Fort Collins, hope to see you there. But yeah, I think a lot of it boils down to freedom and freedom to read what you want, and everyone needs that freedom. So, and now, tomorrow is, King's Day, and that's, yet another repetition of history. It's like, no, we need to make it clear, tomorrow's also Flag Day. And, Flag Day is not something I have traditionally paid attention to. I'm just like, it's, it's a flag. And I've, I was the kid in first grade who had my mom write me a note for school saying that I did not have to recite the Pledge of Allegiance every day because my first grade teacher, Mrs. Campbell, actually took the time to explain the pledge to us. And, those are some big words for first graders. Allegiance, what is allegiance? And, even things like justice, liberty, what do these mean? But my take on it as a first grader was, why, this is an accident of birth. Why does that make me automatically have to pledge allegiance to a flag? And what is a flag? And so I just did not feel like that was appropriate. And so Flag Day has never been really a thing I celebrate. And especially in, I don't know how many years it's been, probably the last 24 years or so. The ultra right has kind of taken over the flag. They've co-opted the flag for some, I think, some really bad reasons, and some really bad concepts, and attach it to the flag. And, it's like flaggy, flaggy, eagle, eagle, we're patriotic. It's like, that's not what patriotism is. And so, and the more fascist our leadership has become, yeah, the more fascist it has become, and the more rabid the MAGA faction, the more I have become actually scared of the flag. I feel like it has been completely co-opted by the fascists, the white nationalists, and they, I would, whenever there'd be a demonstration or a rally or something going on in Old Town, and then you'd always see these redneck trucks driving by, flying their flag, and with all these awful bumper stickers, and I was just, yeah, they have laid claim to it, and I feel it's time. No, we normal people take back the flag. So I will be out there waving a flag, because this is our flag. This is our Flag Day. We don't give a shit what's going on in DC. We're not paying attention to that, because that's a whole nother thing that we don't want to be associated with, and we don't want to be associated with our flag. I'm not generally speaking a nationalist of any kind, but I feel, if we really want to keep democracy and restore it to its glory, I don't know if it's ever had glory days here, because it's always been, democracy here has always been a mixed bag. And the more I learn about history, the more it kind of unsettles me. And I have issues with it, but it's better than fascism. And if we can get it back and get it going in a good direction again, because I feel like we did have it going at least in a good direction. And but yeah, that's why I will be out there tomorrow. Fortunately, I have found a situation where I probably won't wreck my body as much as, say, well, I don't think it's in Old Town, but the one in Fort Collins, where it is, I'm sure I would not survive it. Well, I mean, I'd survive it, but I would have to spend 2 or 3 days just doing nothing to recover. So I found a better situation in another town that I think will be kinder to my body, and require less recovery time. But I will be out there. And if democracy is important to you, and I know there are demonstrations happening in other countries. Where was it? Is it Belgium? No. I can't remember. I saw someone post from another country somewhere on YouTube on, I think, Belle's channel. I think Belle of the Ranch, and I do recommend Belle of the Ranch for really breaking things down into really, really easy to understand, and just cutting through the bullshit a lot. She does a great job of that, and and helps me understand, because there's a lot of stuff that's really super complicated, and so I rely on channels like Belle's, and there are other channels as well, and I can't remember them off the top of my head, but there are, and I'll try to link them below if I can remember them. I'll try to look them up, but they they do talk a lot about how, freedom to read, freedom of information is important. And, we've had a senator um, assaulted for asking a question. That's his job. And he was assaulted and arrested. And there is, yeah, we have passed into the fascism stage of this. And we have to fight back. And for a lot of things, I'm just like, oh no, I can't physically do that. And it's like, there's another book I highly recommend, and I've talked about it here before, but it's On Tyranny, and by Timothy Snyder. And it's one of the things in it. Well, the very first one is do not obey in advance. And too many people did that. Usually corporations. Target, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at a bunch of them, but anyway, Target just came to mind. But one of them is, and I can't remember the exact wording, but it's basically, this is serious shit. Be prepared to die. And I don't feel like I can weasel out of it. This is too important. So I do not expect to die. In fact, I expect a fairly positive experience, and I will be with friends, and there will be people who know each other, and so I have a feeling this is less likely to go sideways than, say, Aurora. I really worry about Aurora and Denver, and probably even Boulder. And I have thoughts on the Boulder thing, but that's kind of a different matter, and so I will not digress. But I'm still really trying to take care of my voice, and I may have to shout tomorrow. So I will just sign off and leave it at that. But thank you. I've seen that there have been some people, and I understand if you don't want to comment or even just say hi. But I'm an introvert. I do a lot of lurking on the internet, so I get it. But if whether you're watching live or whether you're catching this on the replay, thank you for listening to me ramble about all this stuff. And I wish you a happy Flag Day if you're in America, and even if you're not in America, please keep us in your hearts, and let's just hope everything goes well. And talk at you later.